Welcome everyone to the Authentic as Fuck podcast. My name is San. I'm a storyteller and I teach storytelling. And in this podcast, I work with some of our members to help them through storytelling or their branding or marketing strategies. We also have I also have a community called Night Owl Nation where we practice storytelling together as a community, which is going to help you find stories and refine your stories. So if you haven't joined yet, definitely go to my website on the link below and join. Today we have Bianca, who's one of our members. Hello, Bianca.
Hi, thanks for
So good
having
to
me,
see you
son.
again. So let's start with your intro again. Where you're from, what do you do, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I'm an accent coach, which a lot of people don't even know that exists. So in a second language, in my case in English, at least for me in Spanish and French and Arabic and my other languages, I want to speak in a way that's clearly understood. And beyond that, I know I'm not going to sound completely native, but I want to get as close as I can. So that's what I help people do in English. I help them be comfortable, confident, very clear in English, and get the accent that they want to speak with. So I'm an accent coach. I'm originally upstate New York, and then I lived most of my adult life in Philadelphia, and then I've moved to Mexico in Guadalajara about 6 years ago. So that's where I'm at now.
I didn't know you're from upstate New York. Where upstate?
Yeah, actually, you might not know it. It's a town called Queensbury. So it's it's between Albany and Montreal, essentially halfway in the Adirondacks, in the mountains.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
I know where Adirondacks is. I went to school in Binghamton.
Oh, that's
So
funny. One of my best friends went to Binghamton, and so we drove him out there. But I'm more, you could say, east of there. Like if you took the train from New York to Montreal, you'd go right through there.
Yeah. So you're like on the more like Binghamton's like kind of in the middle of the state, but you're
I'm closer to Vermont, very close to Vermont.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So what can I help you with today?
Oh, let's see.
What do you want to talk
about? In terms of business stuff, I've been thinking about it, and I think it comes down to the fact that I have these like times of maybe impatience or second guessing myself. So I'm wondering if it's just that, or if there's something I should be doing differently.
Okay,
I think that's underlying it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty common thing. Mm-hmm. That like when I first started my agency, that's kind of what I did. I kept like being impatient and I kept changing plans, and I'm like, I think I'm doing something wrong, and I'll try something else and things like that. But what I realized is that, like in business, you never want to make any kind of drastic changes too fast. Like you can make tiny little tweaks here and there, but you kind of have to let something ride out for a while to build momentum. Even if you think it's wrong, you kind of have to build out the momentum. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people fail. They don't let the momentum build, because like right when maybe, because I always say like it's darkest before dawn. Right before something happens, usually it's like it feels like it's not going to happen. It feels like nothing's gonna, like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But then if you just have faith, there is. So let's talk about your specific situation. Like what do you think is not working?
Yes. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Have you ever read that book, The Dip by Seth Godin? I feel like that's what you're describing.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking. And so when you're in it, you only see these tall walls. And so you're just like second guessing yourself sometimes. And I think that's all it is. But here's like kind of where I'm at. So I've been teaching accent coaching exclusively since pandemic. So it's been about 2 years, I think, going on 3 years now. Yeah. And before that, I was an English teacher, and I started teaching stuff on the side, about accents. And then I decided to go full time in pandemic. So I was kind of putting everything together myself, learning about it myself. So I think part of the issue is also like, maybe there's not really any wrong answers. And like you said, maybe it's just time, and all choices could be correct for some people. So I think that's complicating it too. The fact that I don't always find like clear answers, and I'm doing everything on my own mostly. But now, finally, I'm hiring some staff to help me out here. I've got somebody to help me with the editing of my podcast and of my videos. I have somebody to help me with like email marketing and website stuff. I have some people kind of helping me with designing my posts and things like that for social media. So finally, I've got some staff, which also worries me.
Also, you're talking about on the so primarily you're talking about on the marketing promotion side, not necessarily your actual product,
like content. No. I can do all that myself, and so it's more like time.
But I'm
trying
saying
to get more
like,
time.
do you feel like your product is good? So you're getting like, because sometimes like people, when the marketing side isn't working, people are like, oh, something's wrong here, blah blah blah. But the thing is, they're getting good validation on the product, meaning their customers are saying, okay, I really love this and I like this product and it's really helped me and things like that. But because marketing is not working, they think that there's something wrong. But marketing starts from the product. So if your product is good and it's working and people are saying good things about it and they're referring other people to it, that means there's nothing really wrong. Like that means you just need to maybe refine the marketing message, or you just need to be more patient or something like that. But yeah, in the long run, you should be able to, like most businesses in the long run, should be able to sustain just from the good product alone, even without any marketing, as long, because your product is what builds your brand.
And I think my product is fine. I think because I've gotten a lot of good feedback from people, and so I don't think it's that. The products that I have now are
Do you
services.
collect testimonials?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got pages and pages, hundreds of pages, literally, of like testimonials to use. And so, yeah, I don't think it's that, but I'm always trying to get feedback to change that. So the products or the services I do now are, I have a monthly challenge for people to join. And it's a kind of a DIY thing. They go onto the website and they record a video of themselves. They watch a video of me first, and that's how they do that. It's very kind of DIY.
Do you collect video testimonials?
I have a couple so far. It's one of those things that I need to get better at asking for, but I have a couple that I need to add to my various like websites and whatever. So yeah, I need to be better at asking about video because I have plenty of written stuff. And I have a feedback club, we call it Accent Feedback Club, where it's about $19 a month. And it's small group sessions where people come and they get feedback. They speak out loud and I'll catch them and I'll correct their mistakes. I'll ask other people to catch them. So it's kind of like Night Owls, right? Where it's a low cost, kind of an introductory level.
Like DIY. Kind of.
Yeah. Well, they show up. It's in person, so it's not something they do on their own, but it's live feedback, like for your hot seats, right? It's the same idea for that, and that's at a low cost to kind of like be available to everybody in the world who needs that. Then I have a special group for teachers who want to be like me and they want to become accent coaches, or maybe they just want to teach English, but they want to specialize in pronunciation and put that on their resume. So they're
totally two different audience.
Yeah, those two are totally different. And then I do one-on-ones as well. Those are all group services. And then I do one-on-one private lessons as well. And that could be people who work in business. That could be people who are newly arrived in a country and they want to feel like they fit in. I work with a lot of actors as well, performers of different kinds. So it kind of goes from low to high. That's the premium one that I offer. Yeah. Exactly.
Which area do you feel like you're stuck on, I guess?
In the content areas, in the services area, I don't think I'm stuck anywhere. I used to do the thing that you said.
In terms of getting new customers.
That's exactly it, right there. It's reaching out or reaching people who are of the high ticket level, in my terms, high ticket level, right? Premium? It's not that high. Yeah, the premium service that I have. So because that's my bread and butter.
Training?
Teacher training isn't so bad. I like my group the way it is. I like it small-ish. I don't want too many people at a time. I think there could be more in there, but it's not what I feel is lacking because like you, for Night Owls, right? That's not what's paying the bills. Yeah. I love it. It's a passion project, but it's not what's paying the bills. So I need more one-on-one people. And I don't know if it's just summer right now. And so people are on vacation, so they're not thinking of that kind of thing. If they're adults,
they're taking care
of their kids.
So your audience, when you put out content and you're building your audience, they're not English teachers. They're people that want to learn English, correct?
let's say 80% people who are of English as a second language themselves, which might include teachers, and then about 10 to 20% that's specifically focused at teachers and how to teach pronunciation and accent. Because I think that's
Got it.
my client base.
I feel like those are two totally different audience. Like people who want to teach English versus people who want to learn it. Like people who want to be accent coaches versus people who want to learn how to, learn accent.
Yeah.
I
For a
feel
lot
like
of
it's
the
two
part.
completely different people.
Yeah, for a lot of intents and purposes, yes. But a lot of those teachers who don't speak English as a first language, sometimes the barrier for them getting a better job is seen as their own accent. So it's a lot of people, half of the teachers, they're non-native, and so they want to speak a certain way so that they can then sell that to their students. So you see what I mean? Like there's some overlap there, but it depends on the individual teacher.
So the first thing I want to check is, because I see this a lot, right? So you started, and then did you have pretty good success? And then do you feel like it's kind of leveling off, or
it's slow, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay that it's slow in terms of, let's say, followers. I'm at about 4,000 right now, in terms just Instagram. But there was never a huge jump because I feel like that's kind of a false sense of
what
security.
about in terms of your business?
Like I would say it's been pretty even. It's been pretty even, but the problem is now I need more one-on-one clients so that I can pay the staff now that I've hired, so that I can keep it sustainable and growing.
So it doesn't sound like the problem isn't that the problem, because like I see a lot of this, right? People grow their business like this, and then like at some point, because like in the beginning, first couple of years, it's exciting, right? Oh, my business is growing, blah, blah, blah. And it's just growing at the same rate. And because it's growing at the same rate, people are like, oh, this isn't happening fast enough. Or, or like it might even like slow down a little bit because obviously no business is going to go like, like
it's not
in the beginning, like when you're starting from, like, for example, let's say you have 5 students and you go to 10, that's double. Right, and then you go from 10 to 20. That's double, and so at some point you're growing at a faster rate. But the bigger you get, that's gonna slow down, and that's completely normal. But I just feel like internally people feel like, oh, it's not happening fast enough, or something like that. So they don't realize that actually there's nothing wrong with the business. There's nothing wrong with the rate of growth or something like that. But it's just a feeling of like.
Impatience. Yeah. I recognize that. I'm like, maybe all this is just in my head. Yeah. And I think it's growing. I have to say, I kind of have like a fear of success too, in a way. So I've never really wanted that fast, quick growth, because honestly, I don't know what I'd do with that. So I don't mind the slow growth. That way I can handle things. I feel like I can predict things better, how they're growing, test things out. One point I got to that you mentioned earlier is with my club, the Accent Feedback Club, kind of like your Night Owls Club, right? It's kind of it's not for the money. But sometimes, it's a lot to handle. It's a lot of work. Sometimes you think, hey, maybe my time is spent better. And so sometimes it creeps in like, oh, maybe I should just cut that, right? I would get some time back, but I don't think that I would be happy with that. I think it's just me kind of thinking of ideas, and also I want to wait and give it room to grow and breathe. So I think now that I have been, slowly growing, it's not that I expect more growth, but I do know that I will need some more one-on-one clients so that I can pay my staff, right? So that I can continue to kind of like slowly grow. So I'm wondering if I'm doing the right thing for that.
So I think there's multiple things there. So I'll just compare it to my own business right now. So right now, I wouldn't be able to have started this thing if I didn't have income coming in from my agency. Okay. So the way I used to run my agency all the way in the beginning was, oh, I'm getting busy, I need people, so I will hire them, and then I'll figure out, okay, how can I pay these people? And then I have to now make up for that somehow. But I kind of learned from, and also, here's the things, like, I also realized that for me to hire the right person, you have to kiss a few frogs before you find that prince. So
I think
I
I've
don't
been
expect
lucky in that way. Actually, I think
okay.
so far, fingers crossed, unless things are going on that I'm not
Okay,
aware
good.
of.
Okay.
I think so far it's pretty good, at least for a starting point. I'm sure I can
Okay.
afford other
So
things
when I
later.
hire somebody, I don't expect to get a return on that investment for a certain period of time, depending on what the job is. Like for some people, it might be 3 months. For some people, it might be 6 months. For example, for my video editors right now, I have 3 video editors that edits all my video, but I don't expect to get return on that investment for a year because like they're just putting out content, right? So that's one thing. So because this way, then if in the back of my mind I know that a 1 year salary for that person is an investment for the year, then I don't have to keep like micromanaging and try to um try to get chased in order to pay that person or something
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
you
So
have to
that's
squeeze things out now
yeah,
and be
yeah,
kind of like validated. Whereas,
yeah.
yeah, like I'm cool with all that. I'm cool with like that idea. I'm kind of thinking in the future, like, okay, I can pay them now, but if I don't get more clients in the future, let's say I lose some people due to just people feel good, they're done, whatever.
So
Then I'm just worried in the future.
do you think that investment of you hiring the marketing people, is it so that to grow your um accent club side, one-on-one side, or the teacher training side? Which
To
side do
me,
you, because you need to be
it's
clear
to give
on.
me time. Yeah, it's to give me time, but to do what with the time? I see your question. To me, I was thinking it would be
Okay, yeah,
time to
I see
make
what
the
you mean. Yeah.
content. Yeah, right. So to me, I'm paying these people to give back time to do the things that I was previously learning how to do myself and kind of spinning my wheels and
But
not
let's dig
doing
in a
very
little bit
great of
deeper.
anyways. Hmm.
I guess my real question is, so let's say you are putting time to do promotion and do more marketing, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Where do you think 80% of your revenue is going to come from
Oh, one-on-one clients for sure.
in the long run too?
In the short and medium run, for sure.
Mhm.
When we say long term, mm,
Let's say like
I think
one to
there's things
three
that I'm not
years.
seeing yet.
Okay.
Okay, in 1 to 2 years, yeah, one-on-ones probably. But then by that time, I like to think there's something that I'll be able to do in the future that I don't even see yet that will be a better source of revenue than just doing one-on-ones all the time. I don't know if that's
Got
a
it. I
different
see
way
what
to
you
do
mean.
courses, right? Yeah. But
Okay.
I think in the short to medium, let's say 2 years, I think one-on-ones are going to be my main source of income, unless I'm missing something.
I actually don't think that you need that much marketing in order to get one-on-one clients.
Mm.
Like I think if you're really investing in marketing and promotion and growing your audience, that's more for like a future product which you want to
Mm-hmm.
have mass scale on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so for example, how many one-on-one clients can you take on at max at a
Let's
time?
see. There's different levels. Like, so somebody, if they want to see me once a month, that's still one client. But if somebody sees me 4 times a week, that's still one client. So I think of it more as hours, right, during the week. So I set
So how
aside
do you sell
about
it?
15. How do
How do you
I, what do
sell
you
it?
mean
Do
by
you
how?
sell a package or
Yeah,
do you sell
I sell tiers, let's say. So if you're a
okay.
one-on-one person who wants to work with me, then you just decide how often you want to see me. If it's 1 month, it's this price. If it's once a month, sorry. If it's every other week, it's this price. If it's once a week, it's this price. If it's twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, right? So it's just a
Okay,
number
I
of
think
how
that's way too
much.
many variants.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you should create like because it seems like there's too many options, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing you need to do is create like 3 packages. So
Okay.
there's a once a month package,
Mm-hmm.
there's a twice a month package,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's once a week package or something
That's what
like that.
people end
Like
up doing anyways. So like I offer
okay,
those levels, but most people just pick those three. And from what I had read, because
okay, then you
I
should
run
limit
things
it
through
to those
Patreon.
three.
Okay.
So you can
Mm-hmm.
then you can when you sell it to kind of automate this process of selling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, you can, 'cause that's why people do that, right? Small, medium, large, or like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the basic package, professional, and premium, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think you should sell it in a way where it says, okay, here's my basic package, here's my medium, and then here's my premium package.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What you get is once a month, twice a month, or once a week. And then like underneath they put like what you can expect to get out of this. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
do this, you can expect to like maybe if the thing is maybe you have to put in more work, or you have to be more
Yeah.
accountable, or another thing is then you should be able to be fluent in about a year. Versus if you do this, you might get there in 3 months. You know what I mean? So that they
Yeah,
clearly
yeah.
understand the benefit of choosing one versus the other, right? From their perspective. So
And do you think it's
maybe that's the first
okay
question. Like
to keep so that's the one-on-one side of it. Is it too much then, do you think, to have also the groups as well, and the like DIY challenge as well? Or would you say stop doing those other things and only do one-on-ones? Because maybe I've done it
maybe,
too early.
what do you mean to do what
Um,
early?
I think because what you were seemed to me, what you were describing was you wanted to start, let's say, Night Owls, but you already had plenty of income ready to be able to do that. Whereas maybe I've started putting my time and effort into those clubs maybe too early, because now I'm hiring staff.
So you think of the clubs as kind of an investment for you, like you're investing your time and money basically into growing this product, building it out, and things like that.
Which isn't
Okay,
going to
yeah.
give back as much.
So I don't think in order for you to invest into a new product or something new, you kind of already need a safety net of like, okay, even if for the next 3 years I make no money from this new product, I'm still set, right? So I think the first step might be to get there. And then once you're there, you're like, okay, now from this point on, I never have to worry about money again. Then that's time to build that new product, right? So maybe right now you should kind of focus on the one-on-one, and then while growing the audience still, but then just understand that you should be spending only like maybe 20% of your time or less on the accent club. Like
Yeah,
for me, there was a clear shift between I was spending 80% of my time on the agency.
Yeah.
And once I decided that I'm going to start something, I still spent 80% of my time on my agency for another year. And then for that year, what I did was I made sure that I can spend 20% of my time on my agency without worrying about money. And once I got there, then I started spending 80% of my time on Night Owl Nation. Which
Because
is
they
kind of
take a
where
lot of
I am now.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Because otherwise you can't really properly grow that side of the business unless you're spending. Like I always say that even if you're doing multiple things, which is fine, there should be one thing where you're spending 80% of your time on, because otherwise what ends up happening is, because I see a lot of people doing this, right? Somebody might spend like 30% of the time on this when that thing is bringing in them 60% of the revenue. That means by putting in 80% of the time in that things, you're going to bring in much more revenue. And then once you get there, then you can later on, like that's kind of in action on a roll. Then you can kind of shift later on to something new, something like that.
Yeah, I think part of me is a little bit, I don't know, concerned that, I've already started these clubs. I've already made this kind of commitment to people. Do you think it's okay then to scale it back or turn it off and then turn it on later? Do you think that's
it's okay
to people?
Yeah. Because what I usually do is I've made that mistake before many times where I started something and like I'm like, oh, now these people are depending on me, or I'll take on these clients. And what I do is, because I don't want to have so when I first started my agency, right, I brought in like 22 clients from my old agency, not knowing that that's going to drag me down. And also, I didn't realize that I'm not going to be able to deliver all those projects anywhere close to the timeline that they were expecting. So what I had to do is I had to have 22 very uncomfortable conversations with people. But the thing is, the mistake that I made was that not having that conversation with those people was actually killing me. Like it was actually killing the business. But because I wanted to avoid this 15-minute uncomfortable conversation, I was like actually creating a bigger problem, right?
It just made it worse. Yeah, it just made it worse. And for longer, probably.
Yeah. So what I would do if I were you, like for example, if I were in that situation with Night Owl Nation right now, what I would do is I would send a message to all the Night Owl Nation members and say, I'm going to keep this open so that if you guys want to just chat amongst yourself and blah blah blah, you can go ahead and do that, and then I'll lower the price to this much or something like that, or I'll even make it free, because I don't want to completely like leave you hanging. But I'm not going to be able to spend the kind of time I'm spending right now with you guys. Okay. So, and I really, and I might even make a video about it. And I sincerely apologize, and I feel terrible for doing that. But I know that if I don't do this, like, I'm going to ruin everything, and it's going to hurt you guys, and it's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt my other clients and everything. Right. And therefore I have to make this hard decision of doing this. I'm so sorry. And I would say that first. And then what I would do is I would kind of shrink that so I don't have to spend any time on that. But give them an out, right? So that whether they can stay in practice storytelling amongst themselves or whatever it is without my help, right? And then say what my goal is within the next year, I want to get, back on par where I'm breathing and I have some more time and availability, so that I can come back and invest proper time into this to help you guys. But at least for the next year, like, I won't be able to do that, or something like that, right? In a very authentic and honest, sincere way, right? And trust me, if you do that, they're not going to be like, fuck you, Bianca. Like, they're not going to do that. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, is there anything I can do to help? Like, they're actually going to be very understanding. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then, in addition to that, what I'll do is, I still have my one-on-one time. So if any of you guys need additional help, then I'm happy to bring you over. Like, I'm happy to like have you come to my one-on-one program. And what I'll do is, this is what I think you should do. I think you should raise your one-on-one prices slightly, and say, I'm raising my one-on-one price to this price, the new price. But for you guys, I'll still keep it at this price if you want to continue practicing there. Right? So that's one thing I would do. Then hopefully you can get a couple of one-on-one clients from there who were to here, right? Now, raise that price, and now you want to properly invest into this side of the business, right? The one-on-one side of the business. So to do that, I think there's a few quick low-hanging fruits you can do. Do you have a mailing list?
Yeah, I already have an email list. It's got maybe 500 people on it maximum.
Do you regularly send emails?
Well, I used to only send newsletters, and it was more like behind the scenes kind of stuff, or just a quick recap every week of what's going on in like my accent world. So it was just a newsletter. But now with getting some help, I can start to send more specific email kind of campaigns about like, oh, I'm going to be doing this month, right? Or join the challenge, and so more specific things for each one.
But those don't help your one-on-one, does it? The challenge and those.
I mean, it's hard to say yet. I've just started, but the hope is that there'll be one-on-one campaigns too, and also like a win back kind of thing, where if you were a previous student and maybe you want to do some classes again, there would be some deal involved there. And I started to do discovery calls. This was something that did not work for me. Started to offer discovery calls, and maybe 1 out of 20 people would actually show up just to the free call. So I've stopped doing that, but instead, tell me if you think this is a good idea. Instead of a 15-minute discovery call, I would do a 20-minute free session, one-on-one session, in exchange for using the video for marketing, for social media, and things like that. So I thought maybe that would be a win for both people.
Good.
Yeah, and the person would show up.
I like that.
So I'm going to start that.
This way you have some content at least. You're not completely losing out. Yeah. So the first thing I would do is try to think of what all the low-hanging fruits are, right? For example, do an entire blast and say, I'm gonna open up room for this number of one-on-one sessions. And I'm trying to fill that up. So like your mailing list or your social media, even I would even create a list of all your previous clients and everyone else you know. So one is all your previous clients. So do a massive like ask, what I would call an ask push, right? So across all your social media, like do like 2 or 3 content that says, hey, maybe you teach something real quick, but lead right into I'm opening up one-on-one. So if you really want to dive deep, like here's where you sign up for that, or like, so we'll talk about that side later. So we want to have one place where all of your one-on-one clients should go to this one page. Okay.
You mean like a landing page?
Yeah.
Or do you mean like an email funnel?
Yeah. So, and we'll talk about what to do there. So here, like, send them all there. In that email, also, like, send them all there. Go back to all of your previous clients and everyone you've ever taught. Like, even go back to your old days, in the,
like, when I first started out and I was teaching English and yeah,
even in your old teaching job, right? Just everyone that that you've ever taught English or that doesn't needs help with English, and then send an email to them. But for these people, what I would do is send individual emails rather than doing a mass email, and say, and have some part that's kind of a generic message, right? But started it with, hey, how you doing? And long time no talk. I just want to let you know that I'm opening up and I'm really trying to grow this side of the business. And if you like, the reason why I said ask, is because I did this too when I first started my agency. Is I'm not trying to sit here and sell like, hey, it's almost like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ask them to help me. Do you understand what I mean? So I do that, and then secondly, another ask email is now pull up a email list of create an email list of or phone numbers of every person you've ever met in your entire life, your old teachers, your old boss, whatever, your old family members that you haven't talked to in a while, everyone, and then say, hey, if you know anyone that wants to learn accent or something like that, let me know. I'm trying to really so like kind of one full round of like just pretty much asking everybody, and then see what you get out of that, right? So first you did with your members. You're saying that, I'm gonna put a hold on this for a while, but if you want one-on-one, so you might get a few from there, and then when you do this push, you might. But then during this time, do not raise your price, so sell it at a more premium price, and do not negotiate that price.
Wait, do not raise the price or do raise the price?
Raise the price.
Raise the price, but don't negotiate.
And don't negotiate it. Yeah. So meaning, because we're doing a push to a big group of people all at once, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a small number of, like, let's say you total up between your mailing list and social media and everyone and all of things. Let's say the total number of people that actually sees it and considers it is like 1,000 people, right? Out of that 1,000 people, you're literally trying to get 20 people.
Yeah. Because
so don't negotiate the price.
Yeah. But you said do give a deal for previous members. You were saying like if I'm going to close down my clubs, then they would get some kind of deal. Okay, but
just so that they don't feel like they're just so that you don't make them feel like you're screwing them over or something like that, right?
Yeah, I can give them the previous price, but not the new price. Yeah. But you're saying other than that, there's no negotiating on an individual level, right?
Yeah.
I don't do that anyways.
That's that's like I want you to have like this in the beginning, like kind of like a quick little success, right? Of bringing in new clients through that method. And then like now we can talk about how we're gonna sustain it, right? And
can I stop you for a second? Because it's funny that you're saying these answers, because for 3 things that I can already think of, right? Number 1, I've already started cutting one of my clubs, and I didn't do that for a long time because of something else that you said. Not you specifically, but just now you said it, but that somebody else said, I forget who, somebody in the business world said, oh, any new thing you do, give it at least 2 years, right? Before you think of making changes or cutting it. So I've been doing the Accent Feedback Club for probably about 2 years. But along the way, I've been thinking, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe I should cut it. So, but I was writing it out.
You were like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like you weren't like.
No, well, I was all in, but my brain was like, my brain was like second guessing. And And then so that was been on my mind. But then recently I did start cutting those. I used to do it 5 days a week, 5 times a week, but now I do it 3, and I'm already feeling better. So I'm already like on board with that. And number 2, the teachers club, I've been doing that for, I think, about a year and a half now. And the reason I did it was, actually, the reason I know you is because I heard you on a podcast of Hadar Shemesh about accents, and then I started following you. But Hadar used to have a teachers group as well. And she closed that down, and suddenly there were all these teachers saying like, what, we need support, we need each other, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I opened my teachers group. So I kind of feel like that's already happened. Somebody else has done that. I kind of have, that's why I have this guilt of being like, I don't want to close it down for them, because like, I think it is a good thing. Right. So it's funny that these are the same things that you're saying. Do you see what I mean?
So subconsciously, you see, that's what I mean. Like, I think you already know what you already know what to do, and I think you kind of already know that there's nothing wrong. It's just probably this feeling of like, am I doing, like, again, second guessing, right? Like, am I doing everything right?
Like, really?
And I get that too. I do that all the time. Like, whenever I see somebody else like killing it with their membership, I'm like, am I doing something wrong?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, see, every business is so different that just because I really learned to stop looking at other people's businesses and then compare myself, like, okay, maybe I should do that. Oh, maybe I should do this. I really stopped that because I realized that the way I'm running my business is so different from how this person's running their business, is so different from how this person, like, everyone has their own, strength and weaknesses and problems, and not, like goals. And so it's really like, I think it's really toxic when we start thinking like that. Like, we just need to 100% believe that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Like, I know I'm doing the right thing. And that's why I'm confident that I'm going to keep pushing through it. And I have faith that this is going to work.
Yeah. It's,
do you know what I mean? Something like
it's like, it's ironic because it's great. There's no wrong answers, right? But also it's, you kind of feel like you're in a trap because there's no wrong answers. And like, I feel a little bit like, what is that, paralysis by analysis? Like, that's me. Like, all the choices are good choices. I can't choose, and also like the idea of like, I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm doing the best thing, but it's like, oh, but will I be doing the right thing for them in the end, right? If I close down these clubs, is that the right thing for them? I have a hard time coming to terms with that.
I mean, for that, you got to think of it like this, right? If you're not doing the right thing for yourself, that means no matter how much right thing you're doing for them doesn't matter, right? Because it's the whole mask. Yeah, exactly, right? So the number one person that you have to do the right thing for is yourself first, right? And that's the reason why I say, I think maybe the thing that, maybe you're in that same place of like me with my agency, like 3 years into it, is it's exactly what I do. Oh, here's an opportunity here. Oh, here's an opportunity, right? But that's actually really dangerous because there's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's almost like in the growing stages of a business, you kind of have to have these blinders on. And even though there's opportunities here, you kind of have to ignore it. And that's kind of the art of saying no, right? Like, it's so what I would say is, and a good gauge for that is, instead of completely ignoring that, yeah, maybe you want to play with this and play with this, but make sure that there's always an 80%. Meaning until you get, because here's the thing, once you get one business off the ground, and this thing is kind of on its own, kind of like a well-oiled machine, right? Where you don't have to really put time into it. It's going to keep generating money and things like that. Until that point, that has to be, getting it there has to be 80% of your time, right? But once you're there, then you can open up that 80% to the new project, right? Until then, the new project, all the other stuff has to be the 20%. So make sure that, so what I want to ask you is, what's your 80% right now? And what can you do so that you can take everything else and cram it into this 20%? and that will open up room for this 80%.
Yeah, I was kind of happy because I was not spending that much time on one-on-ones, but that was what was bringing in the money. And so I felt like, oh, that's probably a good thing, right? Because I don't need to push that at all, and I can grow my clubs. And I was doing that, and that's great. And I think I jumped the gun a little bit.
So it was like spinning plates, like, and then once you stopped this and you started doing
now I realize.
No, that's the problem. Like that's why I think what we need to figure out right now is, at least for the next year, how can you put your 80% back to the one-on-ones, but this time, rather than keeping the one-on-one going, what you're trying to do is you're trying to turn the one-on-one into a machine, where you can step away from it and it's still bringing in new sales all the time, and you just don't have to worry about it at all, right?
Yeah, I think that's the missing piece, is because like one-on-ones are very intensive, and how do you automate that? How do you make that so that it runs itself? You know what I mean? Like,
well, you can't automate the time you spend with the student. That will always be there, right? Because that's the product. But how can you automate everything else? Meaning the lead generation, so literally you can step away. You don't have to do anything, and new students keep signing up without you having to do anything. That's the kind of like that's how I am right now with my coaching, which is like, and I don't like right now. I'm not even advertising it at all. What I'm doing is like you can, if you go to my website, you can't even find the one-on-one.
Like, and that makes it even more elusive and exclusive.
but I know that if I actually did promote it and things like that, I would probably like fill up my entire schedule with one-on-ones. But what happens is I spend zero time on it. You go there, you click on Calendly, you pay with your credit card, and then they book it. And like that's kind of how your one-on-one has to be for you. Where by the time you're getting on the call, you know if they've already picked a package, you know they already paid, you know that everything is all set. All you're doing is just spending that 1 hour or whatever time you're spending with them. That's it.
Yeah. I would say I don't even spend much time on that now. They find me, they sign up. That's not that I don't like massage at all. I don't need to coax anybody or sell anything. Like, people have come to me and they've already decided. So I think that's a good thing. And so most of my I think I just need more of them. Exactly.
So let's do this. Let's make it so that all of your messaging out there, that every time you put out content, write email or something like that, eventually all leads to your one-on-one. And the thing is, once you have plenty of one-on-one people, later on you can funnel all of those people, your past students, into your club.
Okay.
So
because now I'm working at getting people for each thing, rather than just creating kind of like a base of former students, let's say, where all of them need something to
so
do.
You're trying to create a alumni of one-on-one students. Right.
That's a good way for me to think about it.
Maybe what you need is so first of all, maybe what can like you're going to need a good lead magnet, right? Because if you're not going to jump on this discovery calls and things like that, somehow you need to get people from here to here. Like maybe here they're not like thinking about they're not thinking about signing up with you at all. It's like, oh, I don't need one-on-one. But to a place where like, oh, maybe I do need a one-on-one. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have plenty of things that can be lead magnets. Currently I don't really give one out, and I'm still getting clients, but and so I thought, oh, discovery calls will help with that. Maybe. And and I guess my question is like, what should that be, right? I was thinking this 20-minute free session would be a really good way to get people to see how we work together and things like that. Because I find like worksheets and lists and things like that are given away, ebooks, things like that, at least for accent, like things that are written are not as helpful.
No, that's not what I'm thinking of. What I'm thinking of is this. Also, I want you to think of it like this. The biggest mistakes that new kind of beginning entrepreneurs can make, I work with companies of all sizes, right? Big companies, small companies, startups, and all of that. And when I usually work with new entrepreneurs and startups, like they're so proud of their product. They're like, oh, I'm doing great. Blah, blah, blah. That is actually a huge mistake. You should we should never think that we're doing great because that's when we start tanking, right? So you think of it like this: I can always use more students. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I don't think I've fallen
when
into that.
what I tell people is, in the beginning, what I used to do is I would like sell. Like I'll have like fire on my ass, and then I get enough clients for the next 3 months, and I'm like, okay, I'm good, and I kind of relax. And then towards and then now I have 1 month left, and I got to get my fire on the ass again, and so my business was like this, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What you have to do is, when everything is good, I don't need. I'm completely booked. I'm booked for the next 6 months. I don't need any clients. You still need to kind of work as if you don't have any clients. And then you like what you want to do is you want to have, if you have room to take on 20 clients, then you need to create 100 people that want to work with you. And you need to reject 80 people. That's how you raise your price for the next round. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So there should always be a certain number of people that you're rejecting. Like they want to work with you. They're like, take my money. But you're like, no. Do you understand what I mean? So to do that, one of the things that I'm thinking is, like, let me know how does this sound to you? What if we were to do a live Zoom session once a month, 1 hour long, where you try to get everyone to sign up for that, right?
Sign up for
and when they come to, well, no, not a one-on-one.
Oh, sign up for the Zoom.
Yeah, it's a free 1 hour long, not class. A webinar, but a one-on-one workshop, let's call it, right?
Yeah.
Where let's say you try to get like 50, 100 people in there.
Yeah.
Right. Every month you try to fill it up, and you get like 50 to 100 people in there. And what you do is you teach a little bit, kind of like how I did this past week Sunday service. You teach a little bit, but you also try to get people to share, and then you do a little bit of role play, or right, or so there's some sort of interactivity with it.
Oh yeah,
but
I'm good.
With few of the students, not everyone.
Oh
but
yeah.
I guess
some demonstrations, some modeling. Yeah, I'm totally fine with setting up a really good like interactive workshop. I would say that's not where I might have trouble with this. It might be more like the technical side of things, and not I don't mean the presentation side of things, but technical, like, oh, I have to do what, like an email funnel and do like all the back
we'll talk about that
kind of things. Okay.
So let's keep it simple. So it's a Zoom link that any of those people can come into, and it's free. So they can come into it, right? And then after that workshop, basically you're trying to follow that. So if you enjoy this workshop and you want to do this type of what you saw, and you want to work with me, so basically kind of what you're doing is you're doing a little bit of demo of what it's like to work with you one-on-one with few different people, as an example, right? So everybody watching it can see that, right? And if you want to do a one-on-one with me, I have 3 different packages. Just go to this page and check it out. And your goal is that every month you're trying to, from there on, funnel in people to your one-on-one. Do you understand what I mean? But from that point on, you don't have to jump on a call. Like, they just have to go there and put in their credit card number and sign up.
I've been thinking about doing something like that, and I've been doing for the past few months something like that, but it was just like a free kind of webinar. I don't know if this is a bad term now, but doing like a free workshop on YouTube Live, and like kind of nobody's shown up. So that's why I thought, like, oh, if it's free on YouTube, that's easy. They don't even have to go to Zoom. But
the difference is on Zoom, you can demonstrate you can give them a glimpse of what it's like to work with you one-on-one. You can't do that on YouTube because it's a one-way street, right? Whereas in Zoom, you can actually bring them on, kind of like how we're having a conversation. It's more like a hot seat, right? So it gives a better idea. And what you're doing is, so once you do that initial push of what I told you about to get some one-on-one clients, how you sustain going forward is, from now on, all you're selling is that free workshop. Every month, every piece of content you put out, you're trying to bring them all into that free workshop.
Yeah, can I back up for a second?
Yeah.
You're saying workshop. I like workshop. Is webinar now seen as like a skeevy kind of term? Like,
It's
is
not
it
really a
like a
webinar
website?
because
Yeah.
webinars are also one way, right?
Uh-huh.
What's
Oh,
special about this is
it's
that
interactive.
you get to see a role play between you
Mm-hmm.
and
Huh.
an actual real potential student
Mm-hmm.
who's
Mm-hmm. Okay,
struggling with
perfect.
accent, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay,
And
gotcha.
that demonstration, it's kind of like when Chris Do does this role play
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, okay, you try to sell to me, and like when you see those kind of role play,
Yeah.
people are like, holy shit, like they're blown away, and they're like, oh, I think I can use that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need that, or something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can see themselves in that hot seat,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's the whole point, right? You want them to be able to see themselves in that hot seat and how that can benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
But some people might be like, oh, I don't want to do it in front of these 50 people. Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? But
Ah,
they
that's
know that what.
true. That's true because I was thinking, Felipe, he does the online Zoom sessions for the experiences, and he's got a thing where you can like spin the wheel to kind of randomly choose somebody for like a hot
Mhm.
seat. And so I was thinking of that. But yeah, maybe some people would be like, I'm not ready for this, so
Yeah.
you'd have to
But
like
they have no
filter out
problem
those
doing
things.
one on one, for example. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
sometimes
If
because
it's
it's more private.
yeah, so they
Mm-hmm.
have no problem working with you one on one. So you help them, but they might
Mm-hmm.
not do it. Like, and some people are
In
just
front of others.
afraid of talking. Period, in
Mm-hmm.
public.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's not even that they're they're. It's not
Yeah.
even that they're ashamed of their English. It's just that
It's just their
they just don't like
personality.
talking in public. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, especially in front of people they don't know. So that
Yeah.
just kind of alters what I was thinking because I thought, oh, I'll just take a list of the attendees and put them in there, but I should ask for volunteers in that case and have
Yeah.
somebody helping me out, helping me
Yeah.
manage that
Yeah.
side of things. Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yes.
like so you try to bring on 3 or 4 people to the hot seat during that
Mm-hmm.
workshop so that they see you working live with somebody and what that
Yeah.
looks like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's when they're going to be like, oh, I need something like that's when other people watching in that same workshop gets those ideas, right? And then at the end of, so you go in there, you do a little bit of hot seats kind of teaching session, workshop session, and then at
Mm-hmm.
the end of their worksheet, at the end of the workshop, say, hey, if you want to work one-on-one with me, similar to kind of what you saw here, um, then you have like a 5 minute of selling part, right? What I
Mm-hmm.
have is you can work one-on-one with me, and I have 3 packages. First package, we meet once a month, and you can expect to um, get get to this level in how many months. The second
Mm-hmm.
one is we meet twice a week, and you can expect this out of it. And third one is how much weeks, and then you can get, and it's this price,
Mm-hmm.
and have some sort of a fast action bonus, right? If you
Mm.
sign up within the next 24 hours, you're gonna get this price. But after
Uh,
that,
uh-huh.
it's gonna be
Uh-huh.
this price.
Yeah, that's all the back end stuff that I don't know how to do, and I don't know if I need to know how to do it. I think I just need to hire somebody who knows how to
Yeah,
do
maybe you
those
can
things
hire
better than
somebody
well.
who can, like, even within Night Owl Nation community, there's probably
Mm.
somebody who can do it for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great idea.
It's not as hard as you think, but
Oh, I know.
basically what you're doing is this is this is what's going on. So step one, every piece of content you put out, like you teach a little something, and then the call to action is um my next free workshop is on this date at this time.
Mm.
Go sign up for it here. And
Mm-hmm.
what I would advise you to do is create buy multiple domain names. So one called whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah,
Like
I have master an American
lot,
accent, right? Accent coach
yeah,
Bianca, right? Something else
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah. So that it's easy for them to just go type in that URL and find it, right? Like just
Ah,
go to
okay.
some, like, make it really easy for them to remember and find it. So something like practiceenglish.com, or like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
like
Uh-huh. Some of those good ones are taken. I'm
freeenglishworkshop.com
gonna
or
have to
something.
see
Yeah.
what's left. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna have to like
Uh-huh.
do a little bit of research, but something that they can easily remember and easily, because like you don't want it to be like, oh, how do you spell that? Like the kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
um so find a domain, one domain that you're gonna use a landing page
Mm-hmm.
to get them to register for your free workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And what you gotta do is on that page, you gotta create, okay, here's a free workshop. In the workshop, this is what we're gonna do. and you get an opportunity to go on the hot seat if you want, all of that. It's at this date, this time. Maybe have a little countdown clock there.
Yeah.
And then put your email, first name and email here to register, right? And then once you do that workshop on that day, then all you do is just change the date, right, to the next month. And then every month you just change the date. It's the same page, but change the date, right? And then every content you make, just say, I have a free workshop, go here to see the next one, and boom, right? So your number one goal with your content is to get people to register to that workshop. And you're doing two things, right? You're getting them registered on their workshop, and you're collecting their email address. And this is also how you grow your mailing list. And then remember, if you're sending out once a week emails, like, you're also getting in front of them every week, right? And then in the email, same thing. I want you to still sign up for it. Remember that our next workshop is this.
Even if you've come before, you can come again. One thing I like about what you're saying is, and I've always had this in mind, because I've always wanted to do this, but I thought it was an extra thing, not that it should be the main thing, some kind of monthly workshop, right? So
no, because this is where you're going to funnel in all your one-on-one
so this
clients.
This works perfectly because I already have a schedule. So I have a 2-year schedule. So every month it's either some specific pronunciation goal, let's say that TH sound, right? Right. So the whole workshop could be around THs this month. And then next month, I don't know, the R sound, right? Because it's really difficult in English.
That's
next
even
month,
better.
intonation.
The more specific it is, the better it is. Okay.
Awesome. Good. I was going to ask you if that's good or not.
Then you can talk about that in your content, right? Like you can talk about, okay, like you talk a little bit about the TH sound, and then be like, you want to go dive deeper into it, the next workshop is going to be on that. Boom, right? Okay.
Let me ask you about the order real quick. So what my plan earlier was to do the workshop at the beginning of the month, and then my media was related to that. Like, oh, here's a carousel on words with THs that you can practice. Here's an extra video on all social media. Do you think it should be workshop first, social media on the same topic after that, and the rest of the month, or the other way around?
No, the other way around. Because you're trying to get people you're using social media to try to get people into that workshop. Do you understand what I mean? So specific is better, but the goal is not necessarily like to make it specific so they'll sign up for this job. It's not clearly like that, because somebody might see your content from a month ago and then sign up for this month's workshop or something like that too. So the bigger goal is this. Every piece of content you put out there through social media, through Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, every time you go out and let's say you speak publicly or something like that, the only thing you're trying to do is you're trying to add people into that mailing list by registering for that workshop for that month, right? And then what I want you to do is this. Let's say right now, let's say you have 500 people, and then you do this for you put out content, and then get everybody to register for a workshop. And let's say you get that up to 600 people, and next month you get it up to 700 people. Every month you want to increase that list, right? And every month at the end of the month, or before that workshop, I want you to send out a mass email. Say, hey, don't forget, the workshop is happening tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. Here's a Zoom link. But instead of sending it to just the registrants, send it to everyone in your mailing list.
Because they might have missed everything else and still might come.
Yeah, exactly, right? It doesn't matter, because the more people you have in that workshop, the better, right? So, and then you're sending it to 600 people, and then next month you're sending it to 700 people. So your workshop is going to grow too. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger too, right? So every month you're basically speaking to everyone that showed up, and then saying that, right? And then
wait, I'm confused about one thing before we keep going. So let's say the month's topic is THs, right? So keep the month's topic, keep the rotation, do the workshop at the end of the month. But you said something that's now confusing, is that, maybe they've seen some content from the previous month, right? So should the workshop be tied to each specific topic, or should it be general?
Well, you can make it tied to that topic.
Yeah.
But even the ones that joined it from the previous month, yeah, it's not going to be the topic that they expected, but they're still going to get help out of
Okay.
it.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
Cool.
So
Okay.
you can't please 100% of the people. Oh, never. Right. But you'll be surprised that they'll still be appreciative, even though, okay, I thought I was going to learn the TH sound, but this one was actually about this, which still helped me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Okay. Good. 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 Good.
And eventually people will catch on that you're doing this every month, and that they have opportunity to join next month and things like that.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Thank
And
you.
then, so you don't have to be so specific with the, okay, this workshop is for this. This discount is only for people who register. You don't have to be like that. Like, people don't really care. So after you do the workshop, for the next 24 hours now, your pricing is discounted. Only for that 1 day period. So you do the workshop at this time. The next 24 hours, it's discounted. And then after, so actually go into the page where people sign up, and lower the price by whatever, 10%, whatever it is. Right?
Oh, you just do that manually. Well, I'm sure there's like a plugin or something with that. Anyways, not me.
Or you can do it manually for that 24-hour period, and then after 24 hours, go back and increase it again.
Okay, just go in and change it. Okay.
And then for the next, whatever, 29 days, it's the full price. So basically what you're doing is you have a 24-hour sale every month, where if you book at that time, it's that, right? And you would think that, oh, then I'm going to lose this much money, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, that's what's actually going to drive the people to sign up that normally wouldn't have signed up.
Because it creates that window. It creates that like temporary.
Because most people are like, oh, I'll just do it next week. Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, or whatever it is, right? So your content brings everybody into your mailing list. They think they're registering for the workshop, but what's really happening is they're getting into your mailing list. And they come to the workshop because you're sending that email to everyone. Say, here's the Zoom link. And then you go on that Zoom link, you do your thing. And then say, for the next 24 hours. And then I'll buy a second domain that says like work with Bianca or something like .com or something like that.
Okay.
So that it's almost like you have a completely different domain name just for your landing page for the work with you, signing up to work with you.
Okay, and this is something that's open to everybody on the internet, or it's kind of a secret link that they get for this? This is just your...
No, it's open to everyone.
Okay, because I already have a landing page. It's open to
everyone on the internet, yeah.
Okay, because I already have a landing page. But do you think there should
be another one? But the domain just redirected to that page. So buy a new domain.
Okay.
And just redirect it to the same page.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the only reason why you're buying a domain name is so that at the workshop, you don't want to say, oh, go to .com/ blah, blah, blah. Like, instead of saying that, you can just say, oh, go to,
Gotcha.
I mean, you don't even have to do that. You can say the full URL, but it's
definitely easier.
It's easier if, and then just say, if you go to that website for the next 24 hours, it's going to be this price. So make sure you sign up in the next 24 hours, right?
Gotcha.
And then...
Oh, wait. But how would that be? Let's say you've got a web page, everybody can see it, and then those are your prices, and then you do change them once a month. What's stopping somebody else who didn't go to the workshop from just stumbling upon that? Nothing. Okay, just checking.
But here's the thing, and some people will recognize that, and there's going to be a minority of people that will be like, oh, I know she's going to run it again next month, so I'll just wait to that. It's fine. You're still getting the other 90% of people to, sign up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just curious if you were saying that or if I was misunderstanding. Gotcha.
No. Yeah, it's still gonna, in the future. This is still gonna keep bringing in you new clients every month.
Totally. Right? Either way, then.
And then when you go on the landing page, the way I would make it is now, instead of them trying to book a 20-minute call or none of that, it's literally a sales page, right? Where maybe do this. Take few of those hot seat sessions and take out just that hot seat alone, right? Like maybe edit it down into like 5 minutes of the best parts of that hot seat, right? And
from
then
the
another
workshop.
one. Yeah. So maybe you have like 6 recordings of 6 different hot seat sessions. So that on your sales page for your one-on-one, you see 6 videos of 6 different people, right? One is like Spanish speaker, One might be like an Asian guy. One might be like, Arabic speaking person. So people can kind of see the different things, right?
And see themselves
And then,
in that too.
yeah. And then you put their name and you say, okay, take a look at these hot seat examples, right? Like, so that people kind of get a sense of what it's like to work with you, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. Have an entire section, big section of testimonials, more the better. Every testimonial.
Can I pause you for a second? So you're going to be using these clips for social media later. This is a workshop where they get a web link, they exchange their email for that. In what way do you inform the person that, hey, I'm going to be using, your face possibly on some social media later or some.
Yeah, what I would
stuff.
do is pick out like some of these hot seat sessions. And then obviously in the beginning, you don't have them right away. If you do, I would reach out to them one-on-one, one by one. Be like, hey, I think the hot seat session we had was so amazing. I think a lot of people can benefit from this. Do you mind if I use your clip on my landing page?
Okay.
And then some people might say no, then forget that person. Okay. But you're gonna have enough that you're gonna have enough people say yes that you can fill it up over time.
Okay. Okay, so you don't have a specific disclaimer that's just very general when people see that you're offering the workshop. You just do it later when you find out whose stuff you want to use.
For now, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you can do that. You can have like a terms and conditions page on your website, but I still think even if you do that, it's still courteous because you don't want them to be like, what the fuck? So you might want to reach out and just ask for permission one more time or something like that. And then, but by the way, the page that I'm talking about is not the page for the workshop. So there's a landing page for the workshop, and then there's a sales page to book a one-on-one session with you, right? So that's the page that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The landing page for the workshop, you want to keep it as short as possible.
That's why I was wondering, would this be a general disclaimer there? Because it just seems like too much extra text.
No. The landing page on the workshop, you don't want to give any videos. You don't want none of that. You just want them, because it's free.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, oh, let me just join in to see what, you know what I mean? So the less information, the better for the workshop. For your sales page, you need to have every information there, right? So like example of the hot seat, so that they kind of know what it's like to work with you. Kind of here's a sample. Right? So people are like, oh, yeah, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
You want to have a bunch of testimonials all over the page.
Yeah.
Testimonials is what sells at the end of the day. If it's a video testimonials, it's even better because they actually see the person speaking English, and you know what I mean. And then you have the 3 packages. Boom, boom, boom. 3 boxes, right? So here's this pack, and then the price for it, and then have 3 different buttons. Says book now, book, like. Or enroll now, right? And then FAQ, like all the information you can they might possibly need in order to sign up.
Yeah.
You don't want them to feel like, oh, I think this is really right for me, but I just have one question.
Yeah,
you don't want that. You know what I mean? All that information has to, like, how long it's gonna be, like, what can I expect to get from it, like, how many months is it? All of those information should be there.
Yeah.
Oh, what if I miss a session? Like, all of that information needs to be all in there, so that it's all automated. You just want them to book, put in their credit card. So do you understand the flow? So content to the workshop every month, which is going into your mailing list, and every month you're sending to your full mailing list every month to come into so your workshop is going to grow, and every month that workshop is basically your sales tool. You're going to do the workshop, and then at the end, 5 minutes, you're going to be like, by the way, if you want an opportunity to work like this with me, go to this page. For the next 24 hours, it's this price. And after that, it goes up. It goes off. It goes back to normal. So then send it to that page where it has all that information. They book it. So this way, you don't have to, you just spend 1 hour a month doing this. And you don't have to spend any other time trying to sell one-on-one. So that's what you're trying to build. This is the system that you're trying to build right now, so that you can get to a point where this is all automated.
Yeah.
And then it'll free up some time for you to do other stuff.
And to me, actually, the way I'm seeing it now, too, is the goal isn't even to get one-on-ones, because to me, what I see is that even that is just a way to build alumni, right? Because nobody's going to stay forever in a one-on-one, hopefully, because there's a problem if they do. So it seems
even
like
the one-on-one is a lead magnet kind of.
It's just an entire thing to get to that.
You have a list of people that are all your one-on-one alumni
already happy,
which you want to bring them into the club, right, for the future.
Yeah, and that's great for like maintaining that level of your accent. If somebody just doesn't get as much opportunity to speak, and they had all this, they did all this work, and then suddenly, then they don't have an opportunity. It's really good for like maintenance to go to like a club, and also, and maybe they themselves get better.
Yeah, and also you're also building your mailing list, which is super important. Because once you have a mailing list that every week you're sending out an email where you teach them something and tell them to come to the next next workshop, and when you're doing that, you want to get to a point where people are like, oh, I like Bianca's email, I want to open it because I know every email she sends, I know she teaches something that helps me, so I'm going to open it. So you're nurturing your audience through your mailing list, and what's going on is, like 40-50% of people are going to see your email, they're going to open your email. Whereas with social media, you don't know who out of your followers are actually going to see your content. It's probably going to be a small percentage, right? So
okay, so in that same vein, then, to support all of this, do you think I should change my content strategy to, well, first of all, cutting out anything about
what's your
clubs?
Content strategy now?
So usually, this has shifted in the past, let's say, year, but since I started the podcast, most of my content is coming from what happens in the podcast, right? Supplementing with like, oh, here's some special news. For example, I don't know if you know this, right now we're recording on July 12th. July 17th is World Emoji Day. Right. So sometimes there's holidays, and I like to talk about like emoji and language, or recently it was Juneteenth. Right. So I was trying to celebrate and educate about like African American vernacular English, also known as like Black English. So it's like a bit of education, a bit of actual accent stuff, like, oh, here's how we do the TH, something like that. Content for education, little inspiration. But now mostly it's cutting good stuff from the podcast. So that's what I've been doing now, plus advertising for the clubs. Okay.
It doesn't matter what the content is. It's just understand that every content that you make, at the end, whether it's just one screen, or maybe it's like a 5-second clip of you talking, what you're gonna say is, if you like this, you're gonna love my free workshop, and go to whatever.com to join my next free workshop, my next free live workshop.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the content is there to just get you exposure to a new audience, right? And at the end of that content, what you're trying to do is get them to join that live workshop. So regardless of the content, always have a call to action at the end. And all of your call to action for every free content that you put out should all be to drive them to the live free workshop. And regardless of the date or topic or anything like that. This way, because it gets too much when you make this specific to this specific to this, and it's gonna start to keep track of all of that. It's gonna be too much, right? So you know that everything is just leading into this one thing: free workshop, free workshop, free workshop. And then once once they're on your mailing list, the only thing you want is for them to come to that workshop and then go to this sales page for your one-on-one. So it becomes very simple and clear. You're just putting all of and then try this for like the next year, right?
Yeah.
And then hopefully within the next year, it's at a point where you literally don't have to worry about selling one-on-one. Like this process is automatically doing it for you, and it gets to like a well-oiled machine. Then all you got to do is just put your focus on keep making good content on social media.
Yeah.
And then as well as like if you have some time that frees up, now you can start focusing on the accent club.
Gotcha. Awesome. Let me just see if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. Because yeah, I thought it's probably just how I feel, right? Every once in a while, you get a little down. You feel like
I
all this
really
stuff
think
that I'm
that's
doing.
it.
Yeah, I think most of it's that that's all that I think I needed was like to be like, no, you're really fine. Everything's just keep doing what you're doing because you don't get a lot of support when you're doing this kind of thing on your own. There's
Hmm.
there's definitely clubs that you can join, but that's one reason I like Night Owls is we're all very diverse in what we do, but we all kind of share a lot of the same values, and we're all there to help each other. So I feel like that's really a great place to be.
Yeah, one thing that I guess actually the biggest lesson to take away from this conversation is you really need to trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like as entrepreneurs, we really need to, like, for example, like I talked about that before, right? Like when we say, hey, where do you want to go eat? Where do you want, like, it's like, oh, I don't know, where do you want to go? And we keep trying to think about, okay, like, oh, is this person gonna like this? But then we just need to say, okay, I love this place.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
let's go there.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
just need to trust that everyone else is also going to love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they
Mm-hmm.
love it or not, you can't control that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
if
yeah.
you authentically know that this is good, what I'm doing, I'm providing a good product, I'm helping people, and I believe it, then you just have to trust that it's going to work. Like whatever I do is going to work.
Mm.
There might be ups and downs. There might be, like you said, it can totally be that it's summer. So right now,
Mm.
in the summer, nobody like buys anything in the summer.
Yeah,
Like in
yeah.
December, nobody buys anything, right? So unless it's a Christmas present, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
there, so there are so many other reasons
Mm.
why things happen, and and it happens to me all the time, even throughout this whole process of Night Owl Nation. Even when
Mm-hmm.
I had my agencies, there's like months where we don't get any clients, and
Mm.
all of a sudden, like three famous people all want to work with me at the same time. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
there's ups and downs, so we just need
Yeah.
to make sure that we have our true north alignment,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we know that what we're doing is right, and just keep at it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think part of it is like all the things that I do, most of them I love doing, right? And now that I'm hiring help, I can pass off the things that I don't love doing, but I
Mm-hmm.
loved all of the process so far. So I never felt like I was wasting my time, but I need to check in and be like, okay, I'm having a good time. I love what I do. I'm fucking great at what I do. I'm really
Mm-hmm.
good at what I do. So maybe it's too good and you feel like, is this too good to be true kind of thing, And so I need that
Yeah.
check in because I love almost every aspect of what I do. And now the things that I had to learn myself, that's like not really my specialty, I'm able to hand that off. So I think that's good to take a step back and hear how you
Oh,
see
so
it
you're doing
from the
like
outside.
yeah, you're just trying to get like a different perspective, and like kind of step back and look at the big picture to see
Mm.
if I'm going the right direction or
See if
something like that. Yeah.
my choices are correct, of seeing if my time is spent, kind of effectively for the long term, not the short term. And yeah, just to see if
Yeah,
my
so maybe
priorities
like
are right.
everything that we talked about is
Mm.
wrong. Maybe where you should be investing your time is actually in your accent club. Like I'm not in the right position to tell you
Mm-hmm.
that, because
Mm-hmm.
those answers have to come from within. So
Yeah.
maybe what
Like
you
I
need
was
to do is
questioning it.
take a
Yeah.
couple of days off, turn
Uh-huh.
everything off, like
Mm-hmm.
disconnect yourself,
Mm-hmm.
go into some island or something like that, go into the mountains,
Mm.
and just do like a real reflection and ask yourself,
Yeah.
okay, should I be pushing the one-on-one? Should my
Mm-hmm.
80% be the one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
or should my 80% should be the accent club?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think no one else can tell you that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I feel very passionately about all three things. But I think overall, I feel like I can reach the most people through the clubs, right? Like, because there's just a
Hmm.
bigger spread and putting out content. Like, you help one person at a time, that's only one person at a time. But if I teach teachers, that helps a lot of people in the long run.
Yeah.
But I think that's even short sighted, because if we said, okay, actually the main goal is creating alumni, then that puts
Hmm.
everything in that same frame, right? So
Yeah.
that's actually, the big picture that I
But
needed.
you know that that's going to take time away from
Oh yeah,
you from building accent
in
club.
the
So
short term, yeah, in
yeah,
the
so
short term.
so you have to decide that for yourself. The only thing, the only answer that I can give you is whatever it is that you're doing, you need the 80% and the 20%. So what's gonna be your 80%? I can't tell you that, but you know, it sounds like you already know that. So
no, I think everything we talked about really clarified it, because like I do know that I want to reach and help the most people, right? But to do that, then I need the one-on-ones.
Yeah, what's the first step? That. Yeah, exactly. In the long run, I want to reach the most people.
Right.
But what's the first step?
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes that's what people don't realize, is that in order, like, you know, when I tell people, like, people say, I want to grow this agency, like a full service agency, like Ogilvy, blah, blah, blah. But what's the first step? Because I guarantee you, Ogilvy didn't start like that. Like, I want to be, I guarantee if you look at all this company and you go their first year, they didn't start out that way, right? Like, and you need to follow these steps to get there. You can't just go from step 1 to 10. You know, so
and so I think I was jumping the gun a little bit with starting the clubs, because my ultimate goal is to help the most number of people, right? Yeah. But it wouldn't have been sustainable. Now I have to kind of back up a little bit, focus more on one-on-ones for the purpose of, you know, going back to the clubs.
Also, what that's doing is you're not just growing an audience of numbers, but you're also growing an audience of depth. Because everybody that comes to your one-on-one program and these free workshops and things like that, you're building a relationship with them. And that's what you really want. You rather have 1,000 hardcore fans than 10,000 lukewarm fans.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, which is why the vanity metrics, like, I'm never really that worried about it. As long as I just keep putting out, you know, good stuff, then it's fine. It reminds me of, like, you know, when you're really tired, but you need to work, and you're just like, you just keep pushing, when really the thing you need is a nap. And I feel like now that's what I've been doing. And now I need to, like, the nap is actually the best thing for me. And I need to.
I think everyone should do that. I think everyone should, at least once a year, kind of stop, take a step back, and see, like, where am I wasting my time? Where, you know, things like that. And that's why a vacation is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking to you is really good, because you have the distance to kind of look at everything at an overview, and you have the experience to be like, bam, 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 here's what I see, like, with laser precision, right? Because you tell other people what you do for work, and everyone's got an opinion, and everyone has advice, you know, based on what they've heard. And that's confusing too, because you're like, well, that sounds good. And, you know, and they have the best of intentions, but it's then just more information, too much information. So this session has been really helpful for me to just, like, kind of pare things down and hear from somebody who knows, and can also has the distance, you know, and say, like, okay, here's what I see. Awesome, here's what I think you should do. I can't. And then at the end to say, like, I can't make those decisions for you, but this is what I see, you know, from the outside, and whatever you do, this is what you should have in mind.
Yeah. So I can only tell you the mistakes that I've made, and how, and from there,
what you see, know, like, what you see me making mistakes with. So exactly. For me, that's been super, super helpful.
But it's exciting. It seems like your business is really growing, and it seems like, you know, you're really, like, taking it, because every business I see, there's, like, this period, and then there's this threshold where you have to break through to get to that next level. And it seems like that's what you're doing right now. So that's, it's, like, really exciting to see what the next couple of years are going to bring for you.
And that, exactly. And that's why I say, like, you know, I can't see in the few years. I don't know at that point if I'm going to be spending more of my time or moving a different direction. I don't even think I can imagine that, you know, right now. But for right now, this is what I think is the trajectory. So hopefully.
You're taking that next leap. It's a exciting, and I see some big names.
Like, in my field, I see some big names in there, and I see how, like, what they're doing now that they're really big. And I'm like, but it's not, I don't think that's quite what I want to do, you know? So I'm trying to figure out
that's
what's
good.
different, you know?
Because a lot of people make that mistake too, where they have success and they're at this place. Just to feel like, I hate my life. I hate what I'm doing. do you know what I mean?
I'm not even doing the thing I like anymore. I'm
exactly.
Just managing.
It's because they just kept swimming without taking that step back. And it's looking, wait, am I going the right direction? Do you know what I mean? I did that for the first 3 years. Every day I was waking up, exhausted, working so much. Like we had 20 employees.
Mm.
I felt like every day there was fires that I'm putting out. Like every day I'm just
Mhm.
hustling, and then I just took a step back and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm.
This is what I felt like. This is a metaphor. I felt like I've been swimming in the middle of the ocean,
Uh-huh.
and I look around and I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just there's
Uh-huh.
no destination. I'm just
Yeah.
swimming for the heck of swimming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I had to take a step back, and that's when I
Mhm.
actually like went from 20 employees over the next 3 years.
Mhm.
I downsized to 8 employees. We like tripled our price,
Oh wow.
and
Mhm.
yeah, so because now at that point I was clear. I'm like, okay, I'm not interested in just being a project manager. I'm not interested in just babysitting people, being a
Mhm.
manager. Like that's not what I'm interested in. Actually designing,
Mm.
copywriting, doing the work, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's why we scaled it down. I wanted to be more involved in the projects and
Yes,
things like
that's
that.
exactly the problem I see with other people in my field. Well, not, I mean, think problem I would have. Maybe it's perfect for them, but other accent coaches that I've seen that are really big, they end up hiring and training their own accent coaches, right? So to
Hmm.
kind of like
So
create
they
like
basically become a
little,
businessman.
yeah, yeah, and I'm trying to see how can I not do that, and but
Yeah,
still be happy and still
yeah,
make it manageable, and still do that
yeah.
thing. So I still don't see what that missing piece is going to look like yet because nobody else is doing it as far as I can see. But I want to kind of work on a different model for once I get to that
Yeah, I think
area.
we're in a similar place because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like what I'm trying to do, nobody else is really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna make some mistake because we're venturing up to new territory that hasn't been
Mm-hmm.
explored yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make some
Mm-hmm.
mistake. We're gonna do some stuff wrong, but we're gonna figure
Yeah.
it out. We're gonna pave the way,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
once we have done it, other people are gonna follow that same path.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that I love
Mm-hmm.
what son's doing. I love what Bianca's doing, and they're gonna try to, copy that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm very excited because it's like unknown
Yeah,
territory, right? We're like
yeah.
explorers in
That's where
there,
the fun
and
is, though.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the fun and the failure. I think, but at least there's the fun. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
I'm
Oh my
excited.
god,
I'm really looking forward to see what you
seeing what
create.
goes
Yeah.
on. Yay! Yes, and you can feel free to invite all your friends to my new and
Yes,
upcoming monthly workshops, monthly
yes.
pronunciation and accent
You
workshops.
you should
Awesome.
talk more about that in Night Owl Nation because there's a lot of
Ah,
people in Night Owl Nation that
yeah,
struggles with English.
yeah.
So
I
every
don't
time you
know.
do a free
Uh huh.
workshop,
Uh huh.
you should let people know, and you should post on Night Owl
Okay, yeah,
Nation. So
just yeah, I don't want
uh,
to self promote too much. Like I don't quite know where the
uh.
line is, but I'll definitely use
That's why I love
tell my
those free
friends.
workshop ideas. Is
Mm-hmm.
because yes, you are selling, but what you're doing is like primarily is you're giving expertise for free,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then at the end you're saying like, oh, you like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like here you can get more of it here, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something that people need. Otherwise, they wouldn't show
uh,
up, right? Like that's
yeah,
or they
yeah, yeah,
want it. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
yeah,
So I think in the end, you're selling, but I feel good about it because I'm only selling something somebody wants to somebody who needs it.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I'm really just helping them find the thing that they need at the end of the day. That's how I feel about it.
You're
So.
think of it like this, right? For that the one-on-one,
Mm,
that's how I think of my mentorship and things like that. Is that people who buy a ticket to go to a concert, like
yeah.
let's say Taylor Swift's concert. It's not that they can't listen to Taylor Swift's. They can listen to Taylor Swift's song for free on
Hmm.
Spotify,
Hmm.
but they're paying for the access, the experience,
Mm,
you know what I mean.
hmm.
So the
Hmm.
fact that they get to see her live and those
Mm,
things. So you're not selling um, content. You're selling
yeah.
access to you.
Hmm.
That's what you're
Hmm.
really selling,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Personal.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's the same thing in Night Owl Nation. It's the same thing like with not webinars, but like more webinars that I've attended. It's the ooh, I might get to ask a question. At the
yeah, yeah,
end.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah. Like I went to an
yeah.
office
And then
hours
if you
once
sign
with
up,
Pat Flynn, and I was like so excited
yeah,
that I
yeah,
got to like
yeah,
ask him a question. Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
And then if you do a one-on-one, then you get to ask more questions. And
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that. Let's say like it's an access funnel. It's like how much
yeah, yeah.
how much access you get. Awesome, awesome. Always so good to talk to
Well,
you.
great talk to you. See you.
Yeah, very
Hopefully,
nice.
see you on Sunday. And
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And I'll catch you on Circle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Have a
Okay,
great
cool.
one.
You
Thank you,
too.
everyone. Have a
See you
great week.
soon.
Bye. Cheers.